So let us start reading. All right. I am reading each sentence. All right. Concentration is indeed the first condition of any yoga. You have to, our mind is always diverted and it is also very discursive. That means it is not concentrated at all. The mind goes on. Random thoughts come into the mind and we are sort of the blown like a leaf in the wind. Okay, everywhere, wherever, whatever thought comes into the mind, we start attending to it. Okay, that's the whole problem. But that has to go away. We have to become master of the mind, and not that the thoughts in the mind control us. That's the first thing. That's a concentration. But concentration is of two types, and Srimati is describing that. One concentration is you isolate yourself physically, okay, and also psychologically, and you can often go to a place where there is no disturbance. Traffic may disturb you, your family members may disturb you, so you tell them that I don't want to be disturbed for 1 hour or half an hour or whatever, and you go somewhere and lock yourself up and concentrate. That becomes easier naturally because there is no distracting sounds and distracting sights, okay, nor distracting smells. So when you are completely separated, it's easier to concentrate. Then your concentration can be in the mind and only on one particular thing. You can concentrate on anything, okay? Don't think that you need to concentrate only on your Ishta Devata, okay? You can concentrate on an idea, you can concentrate on honesty, or you can concentrate on truth. These are also more difficult, but it's much easier to concentrate on a photograph of Mother or Srimdo or anything, okay? So this is the first thing. But concentration can be even abstract. The tantrics, they concentrate, and there is a method of concentration also, only on a dot. You take a blank sheet of paper and you put one dot on it and concentrate. Put all your mind only on that dot. That is called tratak. Okay. So there are many types of concentrations. But the exclusive concentration is when you blot out all other impacts from the physical world. Okay. Sights, smells, sounds, and all these things you blot out and concentrate very easy. That becomes very a powerful method of reaching, but it is exclusive. Okay, you lose contact with the physical world. That's one, and then it ends in samadhi. Samadhi means your consciousness is now absolutely not present in the physical world. You are not conscious of anything in the physical world. That's a samadhi. Samadhi. Dhi means the mind. And the mind becomes absolutely sama. That means stable, no thoughts in it at all. Absolutely calm, quiet, and no movement in the mind. This is one type of concentration. Now, Srimati is talking of another type of concentration. Okay, it should not be only in the mind. It should also be in the in the vital and the body. The body also should not go on fidgeting. You will see that very often. I have that problem of fidgetiness. Okay. Suddenly I feel a scratching sensation somewhere and my hand will go. So there is a fidgetiness. That also should not be there. Vitally also there should be no emotions at all. Okay? Absolutely calm, quiet. Samatha in mind, samatha in the vital, as well as immobility in the body. That's the best concentration. Exclusivity. But there is talking about inclusive concentration. Okay? We'll come to that. Okay, so the all-receiving concentration, but it's an all-receiving concentration that is the very nature of the integral yoga. So integral yoga prefers not exclusive concentration, but all-inclusive concentration. Now what does that mean? That means you are not segregating yourself from the physical world, but whatever is coming in, you associate it with the divine. Even if the wind is blowing, you are sitting on the seaside and the wind is blowing, imagine that it is the divine hand, mother is caressing you through the wind, okay? You can turn everything into the physical world related to the divine. So that's the all-inclusive concentration. And this can be done by remembrance. How do you do that? By remembrance. Everything that is going on, think of Mother of Srimdo and try to think that they are sending you all these things, okay? Even when something negative comes, you must feel not, mother is not giving you something negative. It is giving you something to conquer. It is a challenge given to you for improving yourself. So even when disasters come, you must know that the divine is telling you this is the nature of the physical world. Get rid of it. Okay. So this is what you have to understand. Everything that's coming to you, coming from the divine. So, but you have to take it in the right spirit and not the wrong spirit. Otherwise, you will say, oh, the divine is giving me blows. No, the divine is, sometimes they give you blows to correct yourself. A child has to be corrected sometimes, okay, with a little bit of scolding. Although, if he is very, very obstinate, then you have to scold him a little bit. Okay. But the punishment, the idea of punishment, like it's there very clearly in Christianity, that the divine is a judge, okay, and he punishes you, okay. In fact, punishment is a method of the divine. That's absolutely wrong. In India, in thought, it is not like that at all. He never punishes you. He is only encouraging you. I was watching a video the other day of a Muslim and a Christian, and the discussion was very interesting. So the Muslim is saying, look at this in Christianity, someone is doing absolutely something wrong and the divine is not punishing him. Okay. So they find fault with that. Okay. You should be punished when you are doing something wrong. And you know what was the answer of the Christian? He was a priest. It was in Sweden this happened. Okay. It's a video. And the minister said, completely wrong. The divine did punish. So both are saying punishment is needed. Okay. So it is not that at all. The divine never punishes. He is teaching you. Okay. So that concentration, all-inclusive concentration, you are not running away from the physical world. Everything that comes from it through sights, sounds, and even physical blows, that also can happen. You must be always associate everything with the divine. And what's the method? Remembrance. Remembrance and offering. Remembrance and offering. This is the most powerful method. That's what I'm saying. Nature of the integral yoga, all receiving concentration. A wide, all-inclusive concentration. Okay. So one is going inwards and excluding everything else, and the other is going outwards and including everything else in your concentration. When you go outwards, there can be no concentration at all. But there can be a constant, that's a normal condition of man. Okay. He is constantly being assailed by thoughts, emotions, and all sorts of actions at all the three levels, physical, vital, mental. But if you associate the divine with them, it becomes an all-receiving concentration. I think I mentioned once, I mention it again, because it's a very good image. It's a Ramakrishna's image of a maid servant working in a house. She is doing washing clothes, cooking, sweeping the floor, everything she is doing. But she has a 2-year-old child at home and she is constantly worried about that child. So at the back of her mind, there is this worry about the child. In fact, the remembrance of the child is always there in spite of her doing everything in the physical world. Okay. So that's the sort of thing that one has to, all-inclusive concentration. Okay. So now I go to the next sentence. A separate strong fixing of the thought, of the emotions, or of the will on a single idea, object, state, inner movement or principle is no doubt a frequent need here also. So I'm just saying that exclusive concentration need not be dispensed with in the integral yoga. Certainly it is needed. But this is only a subsidiary and helpful process. You must have the capacity to blot out everything and concentrate on one idea. And that is there everywhere. Suppose now, Yasmin is a surgeon. When she is doing the operation on the eye, can she afford to think of something else? Her whole attention has to be on what she is doing. So that's the exclusive concentration. In the integral yoga, that also is necessary. But Srimad is saying the other one is more essential. Okay? The other one is more essential. That means everything that is coming to you, you associate it with the divine. Okay, so I am just reading the sentence once again. A separate, strong fixing of the thought, of the emotions or of the will on it. And to be discussed also, concentration can be on what? So same as saying, on a single idea, on a single object, on a single state. That also is possible. Inner movement or principle is no doubt a frequent need here also. Here means in the integral yoga. But this is only a subsidiary, a helpful process. A wide, massive opening, the one that is inclusive, a harmonized concentration of the whole being in all its parts and through all its powers upon the one who is the all. So you can take it as you want, but the one who is the all. The divine is there everywhere, and whatever is happening, it is the divine who is doing it. Is a larger action of this yoga, without which it cannot achieve its purpose. In other words, if you want to change the words, remembrance. Remembrance of the divine, the most powerful method. Because when the change comes, you are not disturbed at all. Even in the middle of a war, you are concentrated. Okay, so is the all, is the larger action of this yoga, without which it cannot achieve its purpose. For it is now, okay, a little diversion. If you are doing exclusive concentration, what happens? Why is Srimda saying it is the other one is more important? Because when you are concentrating, yes, with the suppose you have a knife, okay, and you have something to cut. Now you put that knife into one point, okay, and put all your energy, it goes through. Okay, it goes through. So, but when you go through, you have excluded all the rest. So, samadhi is a very necessary process, but you have excluded everything else. So, what you have concentrated on can get achieved. Okay, you can achieve that, but everything else is left out. So, what happens is when a yogi concentrates and goes into samadhi, wonderful. In that level of consciousness, he experiences everything. Ananda, it may be power, it may be consciousness, it may be liberation, it may be peace, it may be anything. But he can't remain in that condition all the time. He has to come down. Okay, his family members will call him for dinner, the doorbell will ring or the phone will ring now, and you have to answer it. So you have to come down into your normal body-mind life. So then what happens? You lose that state of consciousness that you got. That peace is gone. That ananda is gone. Only a memory remains. It's not that you lose it entirely, but a memory remains. But it won't last forever. Okay, so, but if you do it in what Srimda is calling a wide, massive opening, it will always remain with you, even when you're answering the phone, even when you're answering the doorbell. Okay, so is a larger action. For, I'm reading the next sentence. For it is the consciousness that rests in the one and that acts in the all to which we aspire. Now note that carefully, the sentence. It is the consciousness that rests in the one, okay, which is only what happens in the samadhi. It rests in the one, but does not act in the all to which we aspire. But if it is all-inclusive, it does both. It acts in the physical world as well as remains anchored to the one. Okay, that's what he's saying. So this, it is this that we seek to impose on every element of our being, not only the mind, but also the vital and as well as the body also. It must learn to be absolutely motionless on every movement of our nature. This wide and concentrated totality is the essential character of the sadhana, and its character must determine its practice. So, this is what he's saying. He's making a distinction between two types of concentration. Srimda prefers the second one, the wide one, because its effects are definitely more lasting, but it is more difficult. There is no doubt about it. But it may be more difficult, but it is worth doing because its effects last forever.
But Ranganath, what does it mean by its character?
The character of the concentration is
must determine its practice means what?
How do you do it? How do you do? Practice means how? That's why I told you. The remembrance is the practice.
Okay.
And the character is concentrating on the one in one part of your being and continuing to work in the physical world. That's why I give you the image of the maid servant.
Maid.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that explains both, no? The character
Yes.
of her working gets affected by the remembrance that she is doing. Okay. So the practice is remembrance, and the essential character is you are remembering the divine all the time.
Okay.
Huh? You can
Can
look.
I ask you something?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
You know, there are some of these scientific friction movies
Ah,
where this person has the power of concentration so that you
yeah,
hold a spoon and
yeah,
just by looking at the spoon, you bend the spoon.
yes. That
So,
you get
if
power. That's power.
but but you can do that like in real life.
Absolutely. You have not heard of Yuri Geller? Okay, so let me tell you, it's not only a scientific fiction. No, it is because when you concentrate, okay, what does concentration mean? Take the image of sunlight. It is diluted. Okay, it does not have the power where it is in the sun, 9 million miles away. Okay, 90 million miles away. It's a huge heat that is coming. Okay, a conflagration. But when it comes to the earth, 90 million miles away, I think it makes 9 or 10 minutes to come. It becomes weak. Okay, and in winter it is even more weak. Okay, so but if you want to get back that intensity, what do? Take a magnifying glass and concentrate all that sun rays onto one particular spot. So that's a concentration. Then what happens? It is consciousness, it is heat which becomes concentrated, and concentration on one point gives you power. You can, with that thing, you can burn a cloth, you can burn a piece of wood, okay, or you can even use that sunlight for even cooking purposes. Okay, that's what they are doing nowadays everywhere. They have a huge solar panel in Aurobindo kitchen where they use that heat of the sun for cooking purposes. So power. So when you concentrate, you can, that power can express itself in the bending of spoon, in the granting of boons to anybody. All the power comes in, and the power is what Srimdo is saying you should use. And he was using his power to cure people, to bring about events in the physical world. Okay, we know that he was experimenting in Turkey. Okay, Turkey was a khilafat. Okay, the Khalif was in charge, and it was the Muslim law that was prevalent then. But when Kamal Pasha, I think Ataturk, okay, he came, he made it into a democratic, modern, secular nation. Now, of course, they are going back again to that, but that was Srinivas's experiment. Okay, so he was doing that. Then with that power, he also helped the Irish movement for independence. Okay, the Sinn Fin movement. Okay, in Ireland, I don't know if you know that, but in Ireland, they did not like India. Okay, mild, non-violent means. Okay, we will if the British people are coming and beating me, let them beat me. That was the. If you see that film Gandhi, you will see that they are very willing to be beaten. It was not like that in Ireland. They took up guns and they fought the British. Okay. So, and Shivamdev helped them in that movement. And finally, they achieved independence. Okay. Ireland is under the British. So, power comes in with concentration. But now, see, the concentration which is on one point, you get power, no doubt. But if you are concentrating on everything, how much more your power will be there? Okay. Then that's what is meant by becoming master of yourself and master of the universe. Swarat and Samrat. So concentration is absolutely essential. But the exclusive concentration is not as powerful as massive, wide concentration. And the way to that is remembrance, constant remembrance of the divine. Okay? So, what Jasmine, you spoke about bending a spoon. That is an actual fact. There is a character, he was an Israeli. His name is Uri Geller. Okay? You can type Uri Geller. Uri Geller. On the internet you will get. Okay. There are many people who doubt, but it is absolutely a fact. And he used to say that I don't know how it happens. So someone wanted to test him and see whether he is a fraud, and they gave him a very thick metal rod and said, bend this, let me see. And you know what he did? He tried his best, he concentrated, but that damn thing would not bend. So the others who are doubters, okay, those who are cynics, and they said, look, so he can't do this. But you know what happened? 24 hours later, they found that thick rod had bent. So even that, the power also takes time to become a fact. Okay, he lives in America now, and many people still doubt him, but it is a fact. Our Udar, Gauri's father, met him actually, Uri Geller. Okay, so what Jasmine mentioned about scientific fiction, it's not a fiction at all, it's a actual fact. Okay, so that's the amount of power you can get. So concentration, that's why it is the first condition of any yoga. But in just 1 second, huh? Just 1 second, I'm getting a phone. So sorry for the interruption. Okay, so can we go to the next para now? We have enough time.
But even though the concentration of all the being on the divine is the character of the yoga, yet is our being too complex a thing to be taken up easily and at once, as if we were taking up the world in a pair of hands and set in its entirety to a single task. Man, in his effort at self transcendence, has usually to seize on some one spring or some powerful leverage in the complicated machine that his nature is. This spring or lever he touches in preference to others and uses it to set the machine in motion towards the end that he has in view. In his choice, it is always nature itself that should be his guide. But here, it must be nature at her highest and widest in him, not at her lowest or in some limiting movement. In her lower vital activities, it is desire that nature takes as her most powerful leverage. But the distinct character of man is that he is a mental being, not a merely vital creature. As he can use his thinking mind and will to restrain and correct his life impulses, so too he can bring in action of a still higher luminous mentality, aided by the deep soul in him, the psychic being, and supersede by these greater and purer motive powers the domination of the vital and sensational force that we call desire. He can entirely master or persuade it and offer it up for transformation to its divine master. This higher mentality and this deeper soul, the psychic element in man, are the two grappling hooks by which the divine can lay hold upon his nature.
Yeah. So Sriyamdo always gives a solution and then he tells you what the problem is. He says that, okay, we want an all-inclusive concentration. But is that easy? So he is always very, very realistic. He is not unrealistic at all. Okay, you can always have a very easy optimism. Okay, but Sriyamdo is not an easy optimist. He is a very, very realistic optimist. So now he is telling you that I have told you to concentrate everywhere, but is that possible? Then he is telling you it's very difficult. So what is the solution? The solution he says is to get two things, okay, the two grappling hooks that he's talking about. Go to a higher mentality or go deep into yourself. Horizontally, if you go into yourself, the psychic being, that will help the whole process. Or the other one, they going silencing the mind and going to the higher self. This is basically the solution he is offering. Okay, but that also requires concentration. The concentration in the heart will take your concentration deep inside yourself and you will be able to contact the psychic being. Or if you are mentally disposed, okay, everybody is different. There are some people who are very emotional, there are some people who are very intelligent. So if you are using your mind more than anything else, concentrate in the mind and go to the higher mind. If you are a very emotional person, use your concentration in the heart. So there are many questions asked to Sri Aurobindo. Which one should I do? So Sri Aurobindo says, whatever is natural to you. That's what he's saying here. It is in his choice, the choice of the individual, where he should concentrate. It is always nature itself that should be his guide. You are drawn to the mind or to the heart, and according to that you can do. Someone asked Sri Aurobindo, but can I do both? Aurobindo says, if it is convenient for you, certainly you can do both. Okay, so it's a question of your individual nature. Each individual has to find his own way, either through the mind or through the heart. Okay, that's basically what he's suggesting. So now we go through each sentence and look. So this is something that you will see all the time later also. That Sri Aurobindo is not, as I said, he is not an easy optimist. He is a very realistic optimist. There is a great difference between the two. Okay. The ascetic is not an optimist at all. He is a pessimist. He is saying impossible to change the physical world. Sri Aurobindo comes and says, not that impossible as you think. There is an evolution and it is possible to change it. But the difficulties are vast and huge. So, I'm not saying that, oh, the divine is everywhere, feel him. It's not an easy optimism. Okay? It's a very realistic optimism. It is difficult, yet it can be done. Okay? So that's what he's saying in the para. Let's see carefully. But, see, he's beginning the sentence with but. He has told you, wide massive opening is the way in the integral yoga. But, not that easy. But, even though the concentration of all the being on the divine is the character of the yoga, okay, yet is our being too complex a thing to be taken up easily and at once, as if it were taking up the world in a pair of hands and set it in its entirety to a single task. Okay, that reminds me of the amount of power that Vivekananda had collected in himself. Okay, so it's very interesting. But he felt that the amount of power he had, he could take the whole universe in his own one hand and crush it. He expressed it in that way. So there's no need to do that, but that's what the impression that you get, so much power. Mother also is talking of power, okay? She says that yes, power comes automatically. Okay? So Sri Aurobindo is saying difficult. You have a mind, you have a vital, you have a body, and also not only that, there are different grades of all these things. There is a vital mind, a physical mind, a pure mind. Not only that, you have even the vital is a physical vital, a mental vital. There are so many different parts in you. So how are you going to do it? So Sri Aurobindo is giving a suggestion. Man in his effort at self-transcendence. Self-transcendence is clear. You must get rid of your identification with body, mind, life. You have transcended your lower nature. Okay? Self-transcendence. You can use the word liberation also for self-transcendence. Has usually to seize on some one spring or some powerful leverage in the complicated machine that is nature is. Okay? So, although he's told you that we want a massive opening and not a single opening, now he's telling you you can begin with an exclusive concentration. Exclusive concentration either in the mind or the heart. You begin with that and later on you enlarge the movement. Okay? This spring or lever he touches in preference to others and uses it to set the machine in motion towards the end that he has in view. What is the end that he has in view? To include everything. To include mind, life and body even. Okay. In fact, in Savitri there is a line, even the body will remember God. So you can imagine, okay, how even the body can be made to remember God. Not only the mind, but the vital, but also in the body itself. In fact, Mother says about, in the agenda, she says that every cell in my body has become individual and it is aspiring. Imagine how far she went, okay, in her quest. Okay. So what do you decide? Sri Aurobindo is saying you can do either through the mind or the heart. So how to do? Here it is also nature at her highest and widest in him. Okay. Not the superficial vital, not the superficial mind, but the highest. What is the highest that you can reach? The higher mind. Make your mind silent and go to the higher mind. What is the emotional part? Not the superficial emotional part, but the deeper heart. Okay? Even in the outer vital, you have a higher vital and a lower vital. But the higher vital also is vital after all. Okay, that's not the psychic. The psychic, you have to go even deeper. So now he says, in her lower vital activities, it is desire that nature takes as her most powerful leverage. In fact, this is something so obvious that even economics uses this. Okay, the principle of economics is exactly that. Okay, desire. They know that desire is the most powerful leverage that human beings can use. So, suppose in India you have a territory, a district which is absolutely undeveloped. What does the government do? It says, anyone who goes there to develop it, you put up a factory, we will give you tax free for 10 years. So it's a desire. They are using desire for development. Okay. So what you can do economically with desire, you can also do at the spiritual level also with desire. Turn the desire positively, not towards lower things, but towards higher things. So here is saying, in her lower vital activities, it is desire that nature takes as a most powerful leverage. But the distinct character of man is that he is a mental being and not merely a vital creature. As he can use his thinking mind and will to restrain and correct his life impulses, so too he can bring in the action of a still higher luminous mentality. So the still higher luminous mentality is certainly his higher mind. Your normal mind becomes silent and you rise to a still higher luminous mentality. Light can enter into the mind and completely remove all the ignorance and all the darkness, aided by the deeper soul in him. The deeper soul is the psychic being, and supersede by these greater and purer motive powers the domination of the vital and sensational force. Sensational force, vital is the emotional, and sensational force is even the body. Okay, you get sensations through the body that we call desire. Okay, he can entirely master or persuade it and offer it up for transformation to its divine master. Turn all your desires to the divine master. Now, very interesting sentence. This higher mentality, the higher mind, and this deeper soul, the psychic being, element in man, are the two grappling hooks by which the divine can lay hold upon his nature. So, the solution is use the grappling hooks. You know what a grappling hook is now? It's a metal piece with four like a hook, but it's not only one hook, it is four hooks, and the bottom of it is tied to a rope, and you swing that, okay, and throw it onto a high wall, and once it fits you can climb up that wall. So that's a grappling hook. So Swami is saying, in yoga the grappling hook should be the higher mind or the psychic being. Okay, so that is the reason why Srimdo speaks about the psychic transformation. That's the best method. But if you are mentally disposed, you can try the mind also. Okay. In Srimdo's case, it was the mind. He went through the mind. In Mother's case, it was through the psychic being. Okay. So it depends on your nature. Take the example of Raman Maharshi. He went through the mind. Take the method of Ramakrishna. It was through the heart. Okay. So it depends on what your nature tells you to do. Each individual is in a different nature. So according to your nature, you act. You always go along the easy path. Okay? Can you do both together? Possible, but very difficult, not easy. Okay? So this higher mentality and this deeper soul, the psychic element, are the two grappling hooks by which the divine can lay hold upon his nature. So the divine can lay hold upon your nature, he completely controls you. It can be through the mind or it can be through the heart. So we have only 3 minutes left, so I don't think we can go to the higher one. But if there's any clarification, we can discuss the clarification.
Hello, can I ask?
Yes, go ahead.
You know, in order to open to the psychic being also, you need concentration, no? It is all so fused into each other.
Absolutely.
That, you have to concentrate, you have to make your mind silent, and you have to purify in order to open to the psychic being.
Absolutely, you are right.
So it's not that the psychic being helps you to concentrate, but it is the concentration which is essential for psychic being.
Absolutely, and that's what he said in the first sentence. Concentration is indeed the first condition of any yoga. Go back to the first sentence, very clear. Nah? Isn't it? Concentration is necessary. But he is telling you that you can begin with the exclusive concentration, but ultimately it has to be the all-inclusive concentration. Okay? So you are absolutely right. Concentration is the way. Concentration in the mind, exclusive concentration. But you must remember, but that's only the instrument. Ultimately, it has to become the wide concentration. Okay? But you begin with the simpler concentration, the exclusive concentration. Absolutely. Is it possible that some can start with the wider concentration? You can do that through the remembrance. Okay, that is also possible, but more difficult. It takes a long time. The other one is simpler. It takes less time. Okay, so next time we'll take up the higher mind.
Okay, Rangada.
Okay.
Merci.
Everybody.
Bonne journée.
Bonne journée. Same to you. Same to everybody.
Merci beaucoup.